Okay, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the first Euston Tower inaugural general meeting. I should say that this is actually an inaugural meeting for a new branch. Some of you may know that for a number of years since HMRC was formed, we had a number of branches representing members in Euston Tower. I'm glad to say that finally we have got a unified single branch that covers all members that work for HMRC in PCS in this particular building. For those who don't know me, I'm Hector Wesley. I'm a member of the National Executive Committee. I'm also the incoming chair of the new Euston Tower branch, and again, very glad to welcome you here to this inaugural general meeting. I'm going to keep my remarks pretty short because I know we've got quite a lot of business to go through, we've got quite a lot of motions, so basically I'll probably just cut it there for the opening remarks and go on, basically crack on into the agenda. Now the second item on the agenda, there's a number of reports. Now the reports from the previous Euston Revenue Branch, which technically now no longer exists, but they have to be presented to a general meeting. Now, I understand from talking to the other branches, HQ London and the London ex-C&E branch, that they've had dissolution meetings, certainly for the ex-C&E London branch, they had a dissolution meeting where they presented those reports to their members in that old branch. So we don't need to actually present them to actually at this meeting. So with regard to the annual report, it has been circulated, I know, by email a number of times. There's a few copies on the side there. I'm just basically going to formally move it. I know normally the Borough Secretary normally presents the annual report. She's waived that on this particular occasion. So unless people got any queries, I'll just basically put the annual report for endorsement to this meeting. Any particular queries on the annual report? Any questions? No? Okay. Is the annual report endorsed? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Okay. With regard to the branch accounts, unfortunately the branch treasurer, Maria, is unable to be here today, but again, the branch accounts have been circulated by email prior to the meeting, and there are a few copies at the side there. Certainly I want to pay tribute to the work Maria has done over the year as branch treasurer. Not an easy task, and certainly I want to pay tribute to the auditors that have assisted her in that particular role. I'll come on to the issue of auditors slightly later on in the agenda, because we actually have 2 vacancies for auditors, so I'm hoping that those of you that are financially minded, and we all work for HMRC, so I hope we're all financially minded, hopefully we galvanise and be willing to actually put themselves forward to actually be branch auditors. So with regards to the branch accounts, has anybody got any queries regarding the branch accounts at all? No? Okay. Is the meeting willing to endorse the branch accounts? Okay. Thank you. And similarly for the financial report, there are slightly separate documents. People happy to agree the financial report? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. What I should have said, I neglected to say right at the start, the meeting's actually being filmed. You see Dave over there, our branch organiser, who does all our techie things. He's actually filming the event. You see where the camera's placed, actually placed just above halfway from the actual halfway back from the front. So if people have got a real objection to being filmed, either see Dave or sit right at the back, then the camera won't catch you. So I just mention that, because I know people sometimes have an objection to being filmed. I think Dave's going to put the video on the website, I think. So bits. The whole, well, bits of it, edited highlights. So nothing on me in it then. Okay. All right, so I thought I'd better mention that as well. Dave, do you want to come up now and do your bit about organising? Is that right? Because there's an organising report as well that's been circulated. Do you want to come up and do a bit of that?
Hello. I haven't got, well actually I've got quite a bit to say, but not much time to say it in. The organising report you've got, just a bit of an overview of what I did during the year, what we did as a branch during the year. The things I really need to bring to your attention are the credit union, which hopefully you'll know about, but might not be particularly enthusiastic about yet. But it basically means you can pop a tenner in a month or more. You get a very low rate of interest on it, but you get charged a very low rate of interest if you take out a loan later. So if you, like pretty much everybody else, are a bit narked with Lloyds TSB taking our money left, right and centre and giving it to quite senior bods, and would rather not pay for these people, have a look at the credit union stuff. There's loads of bits and bobs over there. The second thing, our website, we're starting a little forum for members on it. Now I know the majority of members when they get home have got no more interest in the PCS branch website than I have in Coronation Street, which is not very much. Should you have anything you want to discuss, it'll be there if you want it. I'll send out details to the external email list, which you really should sign up to if you haven't already, because especially at the minute there's lots and lots of very important stuff that we can't distribute at work, we're not allowed to. Because quite reasonably, revenue and customers don't want us using their IT to tell you lot to go on strike, which is fair enough, to be honest. So we've got an external email list. If you send an email to that, to info@pcshouston.org.uk, or even better, fill in the sign-up sheet over at the corner of the table there. And please try and write your email address clearly, as you wouldn't believe how many come bouncing back, you can't read them. Right, that's Credit Union, Internet Forum.
My membership.
My membership, oh thank you. Blimey. Again, one of those, if you haven't already, please do this. Register with iMembership on the PCS website. Give them your home email address as well. One of the most important reasons for registering with it is, firstly, so PCS can contact you. Secondly, there will be ballots and stuff coming up which you'll have to be a member of, which you'll have to be registered with and participate in, such as the recent paysetter ballot. And you'd be amazed how many people have split up with a partner and haven't changed their death duty details on the PCS website. An awful lot of people get a shock when they find out that if they die, all their money will go to someone that they actually started hating quite a long time ago. So it's well worth registering just to check that. I think that's about it, actually. So, yeah, thank you.
Right, thanks then, Dave, for that. One thing it should have been on the agenda, but it's not been actually formally put on the agenda, but I should just reference it. The ULRs within Euston Tower have done a lot of sterling work during the year, and they have produced a report of some of their activities, and it has been circulated. I know there's a few men at the back. Do you want to say anything about the work that you've done, guys? Minu and Hugh, do you want to say anything? No, about what the work you've done? Or you want to take any questions? People got any questions about ULRs? You happy to take that?
Well, it's just that, we are a team of 7 ULRs in the building, and what we do is really, organize courses. So, if there's anybody who's interested in courses, please come forward and let us know. And, we'll try our best, to do something for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Minu. I mean, the sterling work, as I say, the ULRs have done. Be a few problems a few years ago. A quick anecdote: Indian head massages, which caused a lot of problems within debt management and banking. The director of D&B, when he found out that certain ULRs were offering Indian head massages, he actually banned Learning at Workday throughout the whole of D&B within the department. It caused quite a bit of friction to actually sort out. In the end, actually, this is quite true, we had to get Ed Balls involved to actually overrule HMRC management and allow D&B staff to have Learning at Workday. Absolutely true. Ed Balls actually got involved. Actually wrote a letter saying it was really good activities that PCS ULRs were doing and how HMRC and other departments should fully support that work. So thanks, Minu, and thanks, Hugh and the other ULRs for the work that you do throughout the year. Right then. Few more procedural things that I have to deal with. Appointment of scrutineers. Now, I've thought my good colleague, Miss Anna Owens, has tapped a few people up to actually perform this role, and I've got down 2 names, Ian Johnson and Alex Blackburn. Are they both here? Well, Ian's here. Where's Alex?
Alex said he'd be a little bit late.
Okay, are those 2 people acceptable to the meeting? Basically, their role is there's any sort of contentious votes when it comes to the debates, they'll be asked to count the hands, basically, and make sure that, the votes are counted fairly. People happy to accept those 2 individuals as scrutineers? Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Standing Orders Committee report, really, that should have been in there. What I put in its place is the Constitution. As I said at the start, this is the first inaugural general meeting of a new branch. Now, the Constitution, I've been assured, has been circulated by email to members in the branch. And basically, it is my role, one of my duties at this meeting, as an inaugural meeting, to put the Constitution for endorsement. Before I do that, anybody got any queries or questions regarding the Constitution? Now, what I will say is that it's subject to quite a bit of discussion between reps from the former branches. It has also the National Union, the Peace Headquarters, the section that deals with constitutions, have been involved and they've given their approval for it. So with those sort of opening remarks, has anybody got any queries regarding the constitution that's been circulated to members? No? Is the meeting willing to endorse the constitution for the new branch? Anybody dissent from that? No? So I'll take it as the meeting's agreeing the constitution. Okay. That's oh, thank you. My techie friend. All right. Thanks so much for that. Okay. Right then, I'm going to move on now to the nominations and where there's been contested posts within the branch to give the election results. Now, I'm going to rattle through the agenda because all this is the vast majority of this is actually listed on the agenda. So I'll run through it fairly quickly and I'll run through the uncontested branch officers posts to start off with. Now, uncontested branch chair Hector Wesley, vice chair Joe Rogers England, treasurer Maria Dobinson Dines, branch organiser Dave Plummer. Now, there's been a contested election for the position of branch secretary, and I'll give you the results of that. There were two candidates for the position of branch secretary, Anna Owens and John Rowe. The votes were counted on Monday at the close of the ballot, and I can now certify that the number of votes cast for Anna Owens was 262, and the number of votes cast for John Rowe was 112. So I hereby declare Anna Owens elected branch secretary. With regard to assistant secretary, the number of votes cast for John Rowe was 154, and the number of votes cast for Len Shelley was 219. So I hereby declare Len Shelley elected assistant branch secretary. Moving on to the branch non-officer positions, there's a number of those, and they are branch learning coordinator Kamini, branch health and safety officer Hugh Davis, branch training officer Minu Sharma, and branch green rep Minu Sharma. So I won't run through all the others because there's quite a lot of others, but what I do need to do is actually go through the rest of the BEC positions. And under terms of the constitution that's just been endorsed, there's provision for up to 10 what's called senior stewards or senior constituency reps on the branch committee. Now, what I'm proposing to do, I'm going to read out 11 names here, but I'll explain how I'm actually going to resolve that in a moment. So the names that have been submitted so far by the deadline are Alex Blackburn, local compliance, Meg Dover, local compliance, Eric Fuller, local compliance, Sue Groves, local compliance, Mike Nesbitt, ENC People Team, Dave Plummer, DMB, Peter Rubinstein, SI, John Rowe, SI, Ray Stevens, DMB, Janet Thomas, LC, and Dean Walton, SI. Now, there's 11 names there, and under the Constitution there's provisions of 10 local reps, but going back to the earlier on in the Constitution, there's provision for up to 6 ordinary members of the BEC, and there are some vacancies with regard to that. So what I'm proposing to do with the meeting's agreement is actually have a discussion with those 11 people, that's actually asking one of them to actually fill the role of being a BEC ordinary member. Because what we're trying to do is basically everybody who's put in to be a rep, we've accommodated them under the terms of the Constitution. And I think that's actually right, given the sorts of things that we've got. I think we need all hands to the pump. So if the meeting's happy with that, we'll proceed on that particular basis. People happy with that? Any dissent from that? No? Okay. That's agreed? Okay. Thank you very much. On page 2 of your agenda, there are listed here the remaining reps that have been appointed. There's ULRs, health and safety reps, and conference delegates. And there's a slight typo on the conference delegates. Andy Bridge is actually putting in for both group conference and national conference. So we are entitled to 3 delegates to both those conferences, and we have 3 people nominated themselves to go for those positions. So that's basically a neat fit there. So basically, again, the meeting happy to endorse those particular individuals, particular conference delegates? Yes? Okay, thank you very much. Right then, moving on now to nominations for the Group Executive Committee and later on the National Executive Committee. Now the nominations that have been received by the deadline are actually listed on page 3 of your agenda. Now, to save time, I'm hoping that people have read, basically have seen the list of names. I will just say, certainly for the Group Executive Committee nominations, they're all part of what's called a slate, and it's the Left Unity slate, which you'll see my name's part of it, so I'm part of the Left Unity slate. Rather than going through each individual name, is the meeting happy that I can move the actual list of nominations as a block? People happy with that? No dissent from that? Okay then, I'll put the nominations for the GEC before you. Are the meeting willing to agree those nominations? Any dissent from that? No dissent? I'll take that as agreed. Yes, thank you very much. And you'll see below the list of nominees for the GEC, there are a number of nominations for advisory committees at group level, Valuation Advisory Committee, Women's, Disabled Members, and so on down on page 3. Similarly, people hope the chance to read those. Are people happy that I moved that as a block? Yeah. Okay. Are the meeting happy with those nominations? Any dissent? Okay. I'll take that as endorsed by the meeting. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving over the page to page 4 of the agenda document. There's a list of nominations, starting off with list of nominations for the National Executive Committee. Just one slight amendment that I do need to make. I think I'll just be clear with members. You'll see on the list of committee members, Alan Brown is listed as a person who submitted themselves for nomination. Alan Brown is actually no longer eligible to be nominated for the NEC. So if you just delete Alan Brown from your list of committee members for the NEC. Again, similar to GEC, are people happy that I move the NEC nominations as a block rather than going for each individual name? People happy with that? Yeah. Okay then. Okay. Yeah. I'll put the list of nominations for the National Executive. That's for the President, the Deputy President, and then for the committee members. Is the meeting happy to endorse those nominations? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Further down the page on page 4, you'll see a list of nominations for various trade union congress delegations and also for various other national committees on the national within the national union, for example, the National Editorial Board and the National Standing Orders Committee. Are people happy that I moved that as a block rather than going for each individual name? Yeah. Okay, I'll put those names to you in those various categories. Is the meeting willing to endorse those names? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Just give me a second. Oh, speeded through that. 10 minutes to spare. Right then. Well, actually then, we move on now to our guest speaker, if Mark is ready.